Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Mr. Oh My Lewis back at you with another video. Oh yeah, and as you might notice, or maybe not, I am using a new camera since I got myself a new phone because the other phone I broke it, so I'm using this phone for now. So I hope the quality isn't too much of a difference, and if it is, I hope it's for the better. I still haven't seen an actual video, coming out of this phone here after it's been recorded. So, this is the first video that I'm creating right now with this phone, and I'm so happy that it's a video for you guys. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about how to be more compassionate as an introvert. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't hit the notification icon, make sure you hit that notification icon. And if you haven't liked the video just yet, maybe I haven't convinced you, maybe just looking at me through video isn't enough for you to like the video, then make sure you hit that like button after you finish watching the video. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So how to be more compassionate as an introvert. So as an introvert, we don't tend to have very much compassion. Honestly, because here's the thing, introverts are very self-centered. We're very in our minds. We like to derive more from logic than we do from emotion, and that's because we understand logic more than we understand emotion. And the thing is that logic is far more familiar to us than it is than it is to deal with emotions. And so logic is a little bit more, I guess, easier. Sure, it could be more complex, but it is a little bit more easier because at least logic works in a very, let's just say, very predictable way. So when you establish logic to a situation, it's very likely that you can actually, reach the outcome without even actually reaching it. So for any sort of logical step, let's just say you're doing math, you want to get the calculation, the result of something, all you really have to do is know the formula, know what formula you're supposed to use, and then the steps that you need to take in order for that formula to take place. But once you execute that formula correctly in the right logical steps, it's very likely that you're going to get the result that you need, and it's pretty much 100% guaranteed, as long as the formula itself is 100%. And finding that formula shouldn't be too hard either, because there's so many math books out there, there's so many math experts out there, and so you needing to find that process, those steps that are going to make it work, shouldn't be too hard, as opposed to when it comes to emotions. Because now when you're dealing with emotions here, they're very unpredictable, especially because emotions come and derive from humans. So when you're trying to understand somebody else's emotions, when you're trying to bond, make a connection there, build some sort of rapport with the other person through emotions, it's a little bit more complicated because there isn't such a logical step, because every approach to every single person is going to be a little bit different. You can't just treat everybody as one. You can't just assume that this other person, they're very emotionally aware of what's going on, and then assume that this other person isn't emotionally aware at all, because who knows, it might be the complete opposite, and you might be making a mistake. And so approaching someone without having any sort of emotional intelligence behind you, it's very likely that you're not gonna understand what the hell is going on for the most part. And the thing is that that comes with practice, and as you may know, introverts, we don't really like to socially interact with people. We don't like to bond. We don't like to just build rapport. That's not something that we naturally enjoy doing, and that's just because of who we are, our nature. Just being introverts, we just like to have our own little thing going. We rather just be in a room, lock us in there with a couple books, maybe a computer, maybe a phone, maybe some social media, some internet, of course, and have us do a couple of crafts here, maybe put a set of blocks of wood right there. We'd probably build some really cool things with that wood, or anything that just involves us going through a logical process, like I said previously. Anything along those lines, we'll be pretty happy, we'll be pretty comfortable, and we'll be good. We won't really need too much human interaction. Of course, human interaction is still needed and still very useful to an introvert, however, not to the extent of, let's just say, an extrovert who pretty much needs needs to be involved some way somehow with some social interactions, or else they'll go crazy if you lock them in some place by themselves and stuff like that. So yeah, so here's the thing, like I was saying, so being compassionate, being very empathetic towards people might be a little bit harder for you as an introvert, because you just don't interact with people as much. And so you having that compassion, that empathy, really comes from you interacting with people over and over and over again. And sure, I want to make you aware of something, because you're not necessarily natural at wanting to interact with other people. Most likely when you start to try to be compassionate, you try to be nice, you try to be they just say more understanding of the other person, you try to be more empathetic, you're probably going to make a mistake some way somehow. And most likely the mistake is going to be that you're going to get bored. And let me say this, and that's just very natural. I still myself to this day, even though I love to listen to people, and I understand that I have a very natural sense of just being able to listen and having those therapeutical and counselor type of natural talents. The reality is that sometimes I do get bored. I do, and that's really what happens when somebody just doesn't talk with confidence. You see, because us as introverts, if you realize, we either don't talk at all and we're very quiet, or when we do talk, we talk with massive confidence. And the reason we do that is because when we do decide to talk, is because we have something really good to say. We have some sort of knowledge, we have some tip, we have something that we feel that's very, very valuable and that is worth of us speaking in the first place. And believe me, this is totally me. I wouldn't be making these videos right here if it wasn't because I feel like what I'm saying here is full of value for you introverts out there. And if you're an introvert, you might understand this. You just don't feel the need to be talking and doing the small talk, like I said in that other video, or you just don't feel like talking a bunch of nonsense, because that it's a bunch of nonsense and it's all meaningless and just a bunch of gibberish and just very pointless chatter. And so when you do decide to actually talk, it's going to be for a very good reason. So if you're an extrovert watching this video, just know that if you come across an introvert and they rarely ever talk, and then all of a sudden they do talk, just realize that when they actually do decide to talk, they're going to talk with confidence, and they're going to talk like that because what they're saying is actually valuable, so you might want to pay attention. But like I was saying previously, before I got into this whole topic here, tangent, here's the thing, introverts just don't have this natural sense of wanting to talk to people. So yes, you as an introvert, you just might not get enough of that practice, and when you do get that practice, most likely you're going to be making mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. I went through those mistakes myself. I had to go and actually interact with people, and at first, I just started getting bored, like I said, and it was boring, and it was like, damn, seriously, is this everything these people really have to offer? It was until I actually started to listen to more smarter people, and that's really when you start to get very excited, to listen to people. And that's really where I got my whole entire practice. Actually, I got it from watching instructors online, because I couldn't meet any in person, because I'm just not very socially out there. I just don't like to expose myself to very high social environments. So for the most part, I just resort to the internet, and I see a couple of my instructors out there, who speak with confidence and who are delivering massive value, just like I am doing here on this video. And then little by little, I was watching these videos, and I was training my mind, to be a very, very good listener, to the point where, I became really good at listening, and now I can take what I learned from just watching those instructors, and now I can apply it here in the real world. However, I still don't listen to everyone. All right, there's a couple of exceptions that I still have around me, where I got people around me just talking to me, and they just annoy me. They really do. They're just boring, because they just come up to me and they expect me to do the small talk with them. I'm like, I'm not gonna do the small talk with you. the small talk just isn't for me. It's just not, and it's actually kind of boring, to having to bring out that small talk. And if you for some reason, if you see me doing small talk in front of you, that means that I'm trying to get rid of you. I really am. And the thing is that I'm just easing my way in to getting myself out of that conversation, ejecting, and really getting out of there as soon as possible, because I just don't. But how do you just get more compassionate? How do you get more empathetic? That's really the point of this video. So you're just gonna have to practice. And why is it important anyway to even have this? And the real core reason is because, yes, you may be an introvert, and yes, you may not enjoy social interactions as much, but you do need them. You do need at least 2 to 3 people in your life, that you can go and talk to, And most likely these people are going to be like very smart and intelligent people who are probably doing the same thing that you are, and most likely they're going to be introverts as well. So you need friends. You need friends. Maybe you want to get yourself a girlfriend or something along those lines, if you're a guy, of course. So you're gonna have to interact here and there, and in order to keep those friendships, in order to keep your girlfriend, you're gonna need a little bit of that empathy. You're gonna have to have some compassion, because if not, then these people are just gonna disappear. Even though they're very compatible with you, you might just end up rejecting them and pushing them away just because you're not able to understand them. You're not able to bond with them. You're just very selfish and very self-centered and very into yourself. So like I said, you still need some human interaction, even though you may not need like as massive, you might not need like the extroverted world where they're all networking and they're like, they know like 100, 200 people and all this stuff, like that's just not something that you got to do. But you do need a couple of people around you, and so the few people that are willing to stick around with you, you're going to want to keep them. So in order for you to keep them, you got to understand compassion, you got to understand empathy, you got to understand how to actually listen to these people and not get bored. And yes, it's a skill. It's a skill in order for you to go there and actually be willing to listen and bond with these people and really, take these people seriously, really, at the end of the day. Really treat them as human beings. Don't treat them as assets or resources or stuff like that, because they're not. They're your friends. So so you want to really treat them as human beings. So in order for you to do that, you just need practice. And of course, you're going to have to identify their value and stuff like that. And sure, we can get more technical about this, and I probably will in a future video, but for now, just understand why it's important that you actually learn how to be more compassionate, how to be more understanding, and this is really how you do it. You got to go out there and you just got to practice. And of course, you don't have to practice with everybody. Always practice with the people that may be already around you. Just try to bond, just try to make those relationships a little bit stronger if you do happen to have somebody around you. If you don't, then like I said, you can do something like I did, which at some point I didn't have anybody, so I just went online and I just started to listen to people who teach or do some sort of education or do some sort of entertainment in whatever industry you're in. So like we always say, the classic example that we use in my channel, which is becoming a writer. So if you want to become a writer and you're very focused and centered in just writing, you can go ahead and perhaps watch a couple movies that talk about a writer's life. Maybe go read a book on some writer's biography or autobiography if it exists. I don't know, go watch interviews with that writer, or something around those lines. Or it doesn't have to be just one writer, it could be many writers, and you could go and just look at other interviews, other movies, whatever it is that they have to offer, in order for you to be able to listen and stuff, and just build that relationship. Even if it's virtual, you're still learning to appreciate the things that this other person has done and all the value that they've put out. And so so you can just start off like that if you don't have anybody right now in person to really practice being. And the best way to really do this is if you can do both. If you really have people already around you, go and practice with them, and at the same time, you know, go online and look up the people and stuff like that. And if you don't have anybody, then go online and look up the people, and at the same time try to find people in person, you know, that you can actually go ahead and practice and, you know, be more empathetic and more compassionate with those people. But anyway, that's it for today's video. I'm trying to keep it short. I'm trying to keep all my videos short, even though I made it to 15 minutes. I thought I was going to cut it at 10, but I guess I couldn't. Anyway, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you hit the like button, like I said. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification icon, and make sure that you share this video with your friends. If you have any introverted friends, make sure you share it with them, because I'm trying to build an entire community here of introverts for personal development. We're all going to grow together, but just really strong. All right. Oh yeah. All right. So, and there's going to be more videos here, so you guys can watch more of my content. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.